Welcome back, everybody. Today we are making this. That's right, pretty much just a bushing type deal. So this one was already made. I made this one. The customer went back and checked it. Looks great. He wants to make another one the exact same size. So he'd actually just brought me this piece in, and then he brought the old one in, but it was worn out really bad, not only on the inside but the outside. So we had to do some experimenting with sizes. I made him two different ones, and this one ended up being almost perfect. So we're here to make another one. But to take a look at it, I'll just show you guys. It's nothing more than, this is some 1-inch 1045, which is actually what this is. And we're going to turn it, we're going to drill it, bore it, and that's really it. So pretty simple. And we're going to cut it off and then face it off. But yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is just get our material set up in the lathe. Get this baby going. Now I want to make sure I leave enough sticking out that I can turn just past what I need to. So, quick and easy reference. It's plenty enough sticking out there. Alright, let's just turn her on and see how she looks. Well, probably help if I flip the switch. Alright, looking pretty good there. So I need to go ahead and get all my tools ready. I've got the boring bar ready. I need to grab a drill, center drill I've got. This may be the correct drill. Let me grab calipers. Correct drill. So we've got that. We've got our old piece that we're working off of. So we should be all set. We're going to start by turning the outside of this first. For the outside, I am going to use this mic because everything seemed to fit very well. And so our original one, let's see here, it's kind of an oddball size, I remember. It's 810, so it's just under 13/16, which that's what we're going to go to on this one. So let's get to turning. Tell you what, for this, I'm going to speed up the roughing process because I don't really care how the finish looks. Not until I get further down. Change my feed and speed. Basically, if you look at the relationship, these knobs to this shaft, as I turn these knobs, that shaft actually changes how fast it moves. So, in this case, I'm going to run it about that speed. So for the roughing process, you're mainly just wanting to move material out the way. You don't really care about the finish. It's the fastest way to get the material off of what you're working on. So So one of the things I'm doing over here that you'll see me do is I have these levers, and this one here down at the bottom actually makes this turn automatically based off of how fast this shaft is moving. So I'm letting this thing run until it gets right to the point where I want to stop it, and then I literally just flip the handle up like so, and then back it back. Now, if I was actually doing this for the finishing side, I use this dial indicator, but I always like to back the tool off the part to a certain degree, come back, and then do it. If not, you'll get this, even on the finishing pass, you'll get these little, let me stop where you can see it, maybe. There are some striations in there, so it's really hard to see on camera, but they're there. So when you're doing the finishing pass, or the finishing passes, in case if I miss, you know, I will back it off basically using this dial indicator. So this dial indicator is set up, it's magnetically attached to the base here, and as I move this handle, which turns this tool post going in or out, so as I go in, you can see there my knob, that's how much I'm actually moving. So I know for a fact exactly how much my tool is moving in or out. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind on a lathe is if you move it 10 thousandths in, you're technically taking 20 thousandths off the OD because you're taking 10 off of each side. So you always got to keep that in mind when you're working on a lathe. If you need to take another 50 thousandths off, you only go 25 thousandths to get to that. So yeah, let's finish this up. All right, let's just do a rough check on it with the calipers, see how close we are. So we are down to, can't tell it from where your angle is, but we are down to 840. So let me flip it around where you can see. Now this is just caliper measuring. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna go back and we're gonna turn this back on. What we're gonna do is we're gonna slow down this bar feed here. So I'm gonna flip this back over. So now we're gonna do a finishing pass. Well, a cleanup pass, a good cleanup pass, put it that way. It's not finishing pass. So I'm gonna take just a little bit off here. We're gonna skim it. And you see we're moving much slower speed at this point. But this is gonna get us much better finish. And we're still gonna do some work after we get done turning it as well. We just won't use just the tool. We'll also come back, I'll use a file and then do some sandpaper sometimes. It just depends on how close I get it. Sometimes I'll file it into the, you know, to the size it needs to be. Sometimes I'll just hit it with some sandpaper if I get it really close. This is a pretty straightforward and easy job. Not much to it. Biggest thing is just really just paying attention to what you're doing, but it's pretty simple. Now we still got to face the face of this off, and then we've got to drill it and tap it, or excuse me, drill it. We're not tapping it, we're drilling it, and then we're going to go back and bore it. So now we're actually going to use our mic that we have here. And so we're trying to hit that 810 number, which is there. All right, so we are 19, let's see, we are right at just under 19. All right, we're gonna do one more pass here. Alright, so we're getting down to this last part of this pass. We're going to check it again, and then you'll see me file it in, and then hit it with some sandpaper, get it nice and shiny and smooth, a really good finish like we did on the other one. Alright, let's see where we've ended up at. So, actually we are just over, about a 1/2,000th over, so that worked out great. And I'm going to take some 120, and I'm just going to actually just polish this up and get that 1/2,000th back off. Looking good. So let's just double check the size. Let's see how we're looking. That'll work. So now we're going to face it off. Let's go ahead and take this off of here. We're done with that tool. So now we're going to put in a center drill, which you see here. And we're going to center drill this so we know exactly, you know, if you just try to drill something like this, a lot of times you'll have it walk. These center drills are designed so they don't walk off the part and you get in the center like you should. Just a hair bit more. These things are short and stubby, these little drills, center drills, but that's the way they're designed and what they're meant to do. And all we want to do is go in there just enough so the center of the drill has something to line up on. All right. So the biggest thing, we want to make sure we drill well past where we want to be drilling to. That way we've got enough room to get the boring bar in there, because the drill is tapered on the ends, and you got to keep that in mind as well. So the biggest thing is just making sure we drill deep enough. Actually just ran out of travel on this. Loosen it up and slide it in some more. Sometimes you want to back these things out, let the chips clear out, go back in again. Especially when you get deeper into a part. Alright, we should be more than enough at that point. Like I said, I'd rather have plenty of extra in there than not enough. So now we have it roughed in on the inside. We're going to take this little boring bar here and we're going to finish the inside diameter just so this bushing here, which actually measures 0.44, not 4375. So this was kind of a little bit of an oddball, but it's not a metric or standard size. But we've tried, we measured it multiple times, and sure enough, it's a 0.44, which is very weird. So this was actually a 4-1 something drill, so we don't have much to take out, but let's do it. So what I'm going to do is just bring it inside a little bit, and I'm just skimming it there. I hear it hitting, so I'm going to reset my dial indicator to 0 at that point. Now I'm going to back it out just a couple thousandths, and then what we're going to do is we're going to skim it there. And this will be kind of our baseline pass. Now I'm going to leave this one running slow because I'm already pretty close to size. So I'm going to just do this one, skim it, caliper it real quick, and then I'm going to dial for that. Sometimes this is a lot like watching paint dry. Pretty boring. let's take a quick gander and let's see what we're roughly at. 422, 421. Close enough for me getting the rough idea. So we still have another 20 thousandths to go. Let's do it. Let's just see. A little snug. All right. See what our calipers are going to give us. Back this up some more. Four, 3.5, 4.36 off for calipering, which is fine. So we don't like much. This is 4.4, I know. So we're going to take just a hair bit more off. This should be our last pass, and then do it with a little bit of sandpaper. All right, this last pass, very little getting taken off, so it's kind of boring to watch. But one thing I will do is to clean up that inside a little bit more, I will take like a drill or anything smaller than the hole, and I will wrap sandpaper around it. And then I will take this and put that in there and just kind of polish up the inside. Now you want to make sure the direction that you overlap your sandpaper, because if you overlap the wrong way, the way this thing spins, it'll just open it up. So if you overlap it properly, it kind of closes itself and holds itself together. So I'll show you that here in just a second when we get this finished up. But yeah, this is it. You're pretty much staying here while this machine runs. Yes, I could have put this in the CNC, but for what I'm doing with this one little part, setting the tools up, it's just as quick for me to do it over here. Just about as quick for me to do it over here than it is in the CNC. I mean, granted, the CNC is going to knock it out much quicker machine time, but I got to set all the tools up. I've got to go through and run the program, do it, set the part up. This thing I'm already, I throw it in there. All the tools were already set. I mean, I already have stuff here for this, so it's just much quicker doing it this way. If I was doing a lot of these, there's no way. But for one, and even two, this is the way to do it. So manual machines are still good. That's for sure. The moment of truth. Oh, money. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So I'm still going to take, and here's the sandpaper I'm going to use, which is actually some, I think, 400 grit. As I'm wrapping it around drill, I'm going to get the tool out of the way, and all I'm going to do is just put it in there and just work it back and forth, polishing it, getting some of the bigger burrs off that may be in there for some reason. Oh yeah, that's money. So now we're going to go ahead and take this tool, which is a V tool, and we're going to chamfer this one on this side here. Put a nice little chamfer there. Come over to the inside. Now, on this one, I'm going to raise it up. It's such a small hole and a big tool. I don't want it hitting where I don't want it hitting. Chamfering there. So, what that tool done is put that little tiny edge you see right there on that edge, there and on the inside. So, all right, next we're going to take this up to the saw. I could do it with a parting tool, but I don't have a parting tool for this machine. And honestly, it's just better for me to saw it. So I'll take it up there, saw it off. We'll bring it back, face the back side off down to the length, and then we'll chamfer it and we're done. All right, so the way I have this turned, I've turned it back just enough so I know if I put my saw blade right here on this edge, that I've got plenty to work with when I need to go down there and face off the backside. So we'll cut it there. So what I'm actually going to do is move my back jaws on this saw out the way, clamp them in, just a clamping on nothing, and then I'm just going to use the front jaws to do the holding on this. I'm going to bring this down. That should be perfect there. There it is. So there is mostly finished piece. Just got to face the back side down to length. Chamfer it. All right, so the original one we made is 1.33. It's worked out good. So this one, we are at 1078, rough cut. Let's set it up and face it off. Now I'm actually going to face this back side with the tool that I have in here now. This V-tool. So I'm going to bring it in. Skim it a couple times to get it good and flat. Alright, I'm going to set my dial indicator up. On this side of the way now. On this side, I should say. Back it off. And we are 1055 calipering it. So we'll take another 20 off. Now, when you're working on the face of these things, you know, as I told you in the beginning, when you're working on this outer profile, when you take 10 off, you take 20 off. But on the face, if you take 10 off, you're going to take 10 off because you're just working inward. You're not taking off both sides technically. So, I'm going to do 2 passes on this. And actually, I'm going to, let's see here. Yeah. We're going to do 2 passes right here. And this should be our last pass, other than all right, I'm gonna leave that there, and we should be we're gonna take 2.5 more off, so we got 1 more pass. The length on this is really not critical. I mean, it's just as long as it has enough clearance for the actual bushing, because the way this thing works is this screw tightens down. I'll show you here in a second. All right, so I know that's it. I'm gonna raise this tool up a hair. Chamfer that inside, drop it back down. Chamfer this outside. I know I've hit it on the money at this point. Wipe the face off. And that's it. All right, so here we are. The first one I made, and then this is the one we actually just did here. So the way this thing works is you have this inside bushing here, and you have this bolt, and this slides up around that. Now, if you notice, maybe you can or can't, don't know for sure, but that bushing on the inside sticks out just a hair. And the reason that is so when this thing gets tightened down, it actually tightens down on this inside bushing, and it allows this wheel to free spin. So all this thing does is this bolts down to a piece on his plane, and then an arm actually runs across this piece. So this needs to glide across it. So you want that to be a little loose. But yeah, so we've got him a spare now.